Tell us about your experience. Like where have you been going to look for jobs, and like what has been your experience trying to secure something that allows you to work anywhere?
I think my advice has changed a lot from this. Back when I worked for that recruitment company, I was teaching courses on how to get a remote job. I was teaching people how to get them. And when I've been searching for my job in recent years, I break every single rule that I ever taught anyone. I feel like a hypocrite here going completely backwards on my advice, but things
Okay.
have changed with technology, especially. I think, first of all, remote jobs have a huge volume of applicants, way higher than an in-person role. And it's always been that way, but even more now, especially since a lot of people got a taste of the freedom of remote work. And now a lot of companies are going back. The demand is so much higher than the supply of remote jobs. So there's that. And then that combined with AI and new technologies that are becoming more advanced for applicant screening. So these applicant tracking systems, humans don't really read resumes anymore when they first come in. So I was struggling to find a job for a while. I realized when I ran some tests, my resume wasn't readable by these technologies. So not a single person ever saw my resume because they would go to the bottom. First, they're screened by robots, basically. So if the robot can't even see what your resume says, you'll just always come out on the bottom. So for me, the resume to be readable by robots as number one, and then not look weird when a human sees it too. So you have to balance that. And then instead of the way I used to tell people, quality over quantity, apply, put your effort in, tailor your CV to every single job, I found it to be the exact opposite. I would spend days and days feeling like this job description is perfect for me. I'm exactly what they want, and not getting a single response or just pure
Okay.
rejections. I tailored my resume to the robots. I went on LinkedIn, Easy Apply. I tried all the remote job websites, wasn't getting results. I went on LinkedIn, Easy Apply, put filters for the kind of job I wanted. I have to admit, I was really burnt out and tired of applying at that point, and I just started clicking send on every single job that came through my filters. And
Okay.
within a month of fixing my resume for the robots and doing that, I had a couple job offers in 1 week. So that's my new advice.
All right.
Quantity and built for robots is the way to get a job with the mass applicants.
Okay. So let's talk more about building the resume or the CV for robots. Like, how did you figure that out? What did that look like? How did you come up with that?
Well, first I started to wonder why mine wasn't coming through. So I Googled like how many companies are using these systems to track applicants, and it said like 85%. And that was over a year ago. So I'm sure it's more now with new AI tools coming out as well. So I figured out how to test mine, and not a single word came through. So the problem that I had created was I used Canva to create my resume. So
Okay.
this design program that was more image based and than text based. The fancy resumes where you have like one column here, nice fancy design here, different sections, multiple columns, none of that works. None of it comes through the right way. Simple text, and I did some basic formatting. I put it straight into Google Docs, just regular kind of word style formatting, and line by line, maybe a little font tweak on my name at the top, a different color for section titles, and a couple lines to divide just to keep it looking clean. And my secret trick, you can't fit everything on a one-page resume. People don't like to read multiple page resumes. Humans like single page, but robots like to see all of the keywords they're searching for. So I
Okay.
had a secret section on my resume that was just teeny tiny white text, still honest. They were real tools and skills that I had, but not to overwhelm the humans. I put it just readable by the robots. So formatting wise, it fit. Humans couldn't see it, but the keywords would be detected by these systems.
And these are keywords that are in the job listing itself, right? Exactly what they're looking for. And so you have these skills. And so to keep it to one page, you just kind of put it at the bottom. I think that's genius. That's really
Yeah.
never heard of that.
Like I use the most important ones first that I want people to see, but then anything extra that I also know how to do, I tuck it in
Yeah.
there so it
It's
comes
like
out.
it's like SEO for search engine optimization, but for your resume.
Exactly. Yeah.
You really have to get smarter because you're right. All the companies are using big systems to like just filter out 80% of people, and then the humans only see maybe 20% that come through after the robot.
Yeah, it's a new world out there. Just like the people who are doing their jobs were kind of half chat GPT, half human now, especially in marketing. And same goes the way you want to present yourself. You have to be presentable to both robots and humans, I guess, or both the AI and humans.
Yeah, and embracing that change of AI and using it and learning how to work with it, because it's really important. Like if you don't learn how to use it and have the tools help you be a better employee or worker or business owner, then you'll just be replaced by it. So it's always good to keep up on it.
Yeah.
So couldn't you describe like a typical work day for us when you're traveling and managing work?
It depends on where I am. Here in Barcelona, I'm working to overlap with Toronto time. So as our team is all based in Canada, I'm a bit of an outlier. I try to respect that and have a solid amount of overlap. It's not full schedule flexibility. So I work about 1 to 10 p.m. Barcelona time. So It does affect the social life a little bit here, but I'm a night owl. It works for me.
Okay, that's cool. And they know you're out of the country?
Yeah. They know where I am, and they they don't book meetings with me at midnight, so they respect that as well and give me my flexibility to live my life nicely. But I mean, when I move around too, I was in Mexico for almost a month. Went there on a little mother-daughter trip, and so I was working remotely the entire time from Mexico. I actually kept my Barcelona schedule and was working from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. there so I could go to the beach after work. So I kept that timing flexibility to enjoy some sun and enjoy being in a place more than I would if I was working during all of the daylight hours.
Yeah, that's perfect. It's great when you change locations and it works in a better way for your job. You get a little bonus. I do like being in Asia when it's like night in the States, because like my days are quiet. No one is after me for anything. But when I wake up and before I go to bed, I have to like make sure everyone has everything they need. Nothing's burning down, stuff like that. But like I have my whole day like silent because everyone's in bed, which is it's nice.
It's nice. It gives you real focus time. I like starting my day where the Toronto team is asleep because I can get my work done uninterrupted, and then we have our time together afterward. And I've worked like that before. I worked for a while during the pandemic remotely from California with my job in Taiwan, and it's kind of nice to have just partial overlap time with your teammates because you can focus more on getting stuff done in between.
Yeah, you're not so distracted. So when you got that job, did you tell them, hey, I will be traveling around, or hey, I'm going to be in Barcelona? Or did you kind of like get the job first and then ease them into that?
Yeah, I remember when I was applying for jobs, my LinkedIn said Barcelona, and I was worried that I wouldn't be taken seriously as an American or I'm American Canadian as a legal applicant to work for countries in that region. So I changed my profile back to California during that period. And if I wasn't asked, I wouldn't say it maybe in the first stages, get to know people first. But I was pretty transparent with the job that I'm working at now. They knew I was in Barcelona. They did tell me close to the end of the interviews that their biggest concern was my time difference. And I said, I swear you won't notice the difference at all. And so when I started, I was working until almost midnight. And then after a couple of months, they'll understand if I need to shift it just a little bit and kind of slid into the flexibility over time after I got a sense of how things worked and after I was trained. It's hard when you're at a new job to not have full overlap with your teammates, especially when you have a lot of questions and you're still in the training phase.
Yeah, no, that's really smart. And it's so critical those first 30, 60, 90 days, right? You got to prove yourself. You want to be extra on top of it, especially if it's a golden job, like all remote, like that you've been searching for and spent all the time to get. So it's really good advice. So I was just curious how do you handle that? Because, there are some people that I help coach, and sometimes we just decide not to tell the employer at all. If you've been remote for a while, and some people do that and they just stay under the radar for forever, and that works. So it's something that's new digital nomads have to figure out for themselves, like what feels right and what they think they can make happen with their job. Are you tired of trading your time for a paycheck and a job that drains your soul? What if I told you in as little as 30 days, you could be working fully remote, whether that be a beach in Thailand or a mountainside cafe in Peru? Hi, I'm Ryan. I've been a digital nomad for over 8 years, working from 23 US states and 24 countries. Through my one-on-one coaching, I've helped countless people create a life of freedom through remote work. I've spent the past 9 months creating the ultimate step-by-step masterclass to help you go from being stuck in your 9 to 5 to fully remote. This isn't just a dream. This has worked for so many others, and it can work for you too. Please click the button below, get instant access to the masterclass, and start living the life of your dreams today.
Yeah, like in some ways what they don't know can't hurt them, but in other ways I think it's important to be honest, and I think it's a good sign if your employer knows that you can get your job done and doesn't mind where you are when you do it. I think that's also a really healthy mindset for the company too. They care about the results, the work that gets done. They don't need to micromanage where you are and where your laptop happens to be located. I think it's good to tell them. It could make it tougher to get a job. Maybe wait until you get through the first stage and then talk more openly. But I think being honest is important, and just ensuring them that you'll make sure that you have the right level of overlap and be flexible as well with the time zone that you work in.
What other pieces of advice would you have someone who wants to start the digital nomad lifestyle?
That was so cheesy. I was going to say believe in yourself, but I believe that it's very possible. I know a lot of nomads are freelancers or entrepreneurs, but it is possible to work full-time for a company remotely. I know I was the first hire outside of Canada at my company or outside of North America at my company, and they were willing to be open to the flexibility of this new thing. I think a lot of companies are, even though some are moving back to being in the office and strict, but the truly good companies with great managers, great management style, and a healthy mindset for business, those are the kinds of places where they should understand flexibility. And I think you should keep trying, don't give up, even if you do. I probably did thousands of easy applies on LinkedIn and hundreds of hard written applications to get my job, but I didn't give up. I burnt out, but I kept going and yeah, just keep trying, and it's definitely possible.
I think it's a good one. I think a lot of people are, they have some limiting beliefs and mindset that, they're not going to be able to find what they're looking for. But like, if you really have good skills and you're a good employee and you do good work and you bring results no matter where you are, you can definitely make it happen, and it's totally worth it. And you can always change to freelancing at any point. A lot of the skills that you have, even in a job, can easily transition into the freelancing side of things. So I tell people that's really like the easiest way. You could build a business super hard. You could find a remote job pretty hard, but freelancing's like, in my opinion, like the quickest way to become a digital nomad. Use all those skills from all your past experiences, school, work, to all the different jobs, come up with all those skills and, okay, what can you, turn that into, and even just start on Fiverr and Upwork and get some jobs done and build up a portfolio. So
yeah, in some ways freelancing made it possible for me too, because I was able to be more patient while looking for the right fit at a job that would let me work remotely, because I had another way to make an income without a full-time job at that time. So I was freelancing while searching, and it gave me more freedom to not panic, be able to just slowly wait and for the right opportunity to hit.
Right, kind of giving yourself supplemental income just while you're waiting. So that's also good advice. So do you tend to travel solo, or are you traveling with anyone else?
I love.
Thanks for tuning in. If you found this episode useful, please like, subscribe, and share it with a friend. You can hear all the full episodes of Digital Nomad Nation wherever you listen to podcasts. Drop your key takeaway in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And remember, you're only one bold decision away from a life full of freedom.